Welcome to Unpacking the Athlete podcast, hosted by yours truly, Rob Martin. Welcome to Unpacking the Athlete, a podcast dedicated to diving deep into what makes athletes who they are. This is episode 8. Today's guest races mountain bikes very fast and is still in high school. Her accomplishments are as follows. At Iceman in 2019, she was second placed overall in the juniors division, and in 2021, she was third overall in the juniors category as well. She has raced USA Mountain Bike National Championships in Winter Park, Colorado in 2021 and 2022, with a fifth place podium as a sophomore. As a MISCA mountain bike racer, so let's back up real quick. MISCA is basically the elementary, middle school, and high school competitive mountain bike association that has kids from all over the state competing. She has been runner-up, state champion in 2019 and 2021, 9th and 11th grade respectively, and was the state champion in 2020 as a 10th grader. In the 2022 Shorts Fat Bike Series, in the women's open category, she snagged the overall win. As a senior in high school this year, I can't wait to see what unfolds for her. Our guest today is Annabelle Miller, who resides in Michigan. She loves doing extra hill repeats on the ski hill at Cannonsburg. Welcome, Annabelle. Glad to have you on.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
We are excited to dig in. So I'm going to hit you with the first question, and it's kind of an off-the-wall question, but we'll see what you think. If you could pick one rider's bike to have out of these three riders, which bike would it be? Kate Courtney Scott, Yolanda Neff's Trek, or Rebecca McConnell's Mondraker? And I don't really know if I'm saying that right, but those are your three choices.
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question because I would love to have any of those bikes. But I think I'm going to pick Kate Courtney's Scott bike because it's really pretty and it's pretty fast too.
Yeah, and it has the sparkle watts, right?
Right, exactly. Sparkle watts, very important.
Nice. Other than those bikes, if you could ride any bike and you could just pick one, what bike would that be?
So I ride a Ibis DV9 and they make a full suspension. Ibis makes a full suspension race bike, so it's called the XC, which I think would be a sweet bike to ride. Jenny Risvetz rides that bike, which is pretty cool.
What has been your favorite bike that you've had along the way?
I love my Ibis right now. It's a hardtail, and I have a dropper on it, which is nice, but it's pretty slacked out too, which I really like riding.
And that's why you have it right now, because you love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's start with you talking about US Nat this year and your experience there. Maybe give us just a brief overview of what happened and how it went.
The course it's in Winter Park, Colorado, and it starts off with this long climb, fire road, like gravel 2-track, and then it cuts into a single track climb right after that, and it's pretty tall. It's like 500 feet, I think. I'm not exactly 700 feet, maybe. Yeah, 700. So it's really challenging because the single track parts are pretty steep, but I mean, obviously you're at like 9,000 or 10,000 feet of elevation, so that's hard on its own. And then at the top, you drop into a long downhill, which I had so much fun with every time. It's super flowy, a little technical at spots, but it's really fun to race. And then a little climb, and then a rock garden. And new this year was a second rock garden they added to the second lap, which was really challenging because it was really steep, so you had to have your line really dialed. So that was something I worked really hard on in pre-riding that went well. My race was supposed to be 3 laps, but they have the 80% rule in the cross-country race, and so I completed 2 laps before I got pulled because the leaders were, like, insanely fast. But I was really happy with my cross-country race because I felt super strong on the climbs and strong and confident on the descents and well. I was very proud of that race. And then 2 days later, I raced short track, which was this super short course. It took from like 3 to 5 minutes to do every lap. And so it was 20 laps, or 20 minutes plus 3 laps. And I went into that race not knowing how many laps it would complete, just because of the shorter course makes the 80% rule for pulling riders, like, it's much easier to get pulled in that race because of the shorter lap. So, but I surprised myself and I finished 5 laps plus the start lap, which I was so proud of. And I felt really, really strong in that race. Just on the climbs and like taking the race out strong, I was very happy with that one as well.
Was the course much different this year as compared to last year? I know you mentioned the steeper rock garden on the downhill. Was there anything else that was different?
No, it was pretty much the exact same as last year, except, in the cross-country race, on the start of the second and the third lap, there was a steep rock garden.
Okay. I did see your dad post the video of you going down that, and I was like, whoa, and you made it, and it was really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Would you rather race your bike in a bike race or chase a good KOM? And is there any particular reason why?
I do love looking for comms, but I think I would rather race my bike in a race just because competing against people like live time is so much fun. You can go head-to-head with other racers, and it's so exciting, and it's so tactical, and I just love, like, that feeling of being in the competition at that time instead of racing against the computer.
I think I might agree with you on that, especially the younger you are. The older you get, maybe the KOM chasing is a little more exciting, but I don't know yet. When did you get started on the bike or in the sport, and how did that happen? Tell us a little story about that.
Well, I started mountain biking when I was, like, really little because my parents liked to do it, but I first started racing for real. I started MISCA in 7th grade, the fall of 7th grade. I did cross-country running in 6th grade, and I didn't really like it, and I heard that there was a mountain bike team starting in Grand Rapids, and so I decided to try that out because I had liked mountain biking previously, and I did my first race, and I loved it so much. I wasn't really sure how to race yet. Like, I took a lot of water breaks, but I had a ton of fun, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is totally what I want to do.
Lots of water breaks.
Yes.
And you said no to cross-country running.
I did a full season of it, but I decided I liked biking better.
Honestly, when I look back, I had one buddy in high school that did the mountain biking, and I had thought about it, and I wish I would have at least tried it out because I think I would have done the same thing. I think I would have dumped to the running and switched to the bike for sure. It's just a lot more fun.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
What recent event, other than Nats this year, did you do that was challenging and fun at the same time?
I did a race in the spring in Wisconsin, Englewood, and
Yep.
I did that race to try and get UCI points, which helped get a call up for nationals. And this was my second year doing Englewood, and I love the course so much. It's pretty flat. It's on a cow farm, but there's 2 pretty long rock gardens in it, and it's just so much fun and super challenging. And also, lots of the fastest girls in my age group go to that race to try and get points. So it's always really challenging because I'm racing against people who are some of the fastest in the country. And so it's a challenging course plus very, very competitive, which is awesome because it's, like, exciting, you know?
Absolutely. Would you recommend others go race over in some of the Wars races as well?
Yeah, I love Wars races. It's so much fun, especially, like, in the spring for high school racers. We have MISCA in the fall, but I've done a few Wars races, not a ton of them, but it's always so much fun. The people are so nice. It's so exciting to try the new trails and race against other people from around the country.
I like that idea. Let you see other things other than our little so-called pond here. You get into a bigger lake there, going over there, and you get to see more riders, probably more riders at your level and above your level, so you can kind of strive for something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What other sports or activities have you done in the past that you believe have translated into a better you on the bike?
I've done water polo, and I've done cross-country running. In water polo, you have to tread water a lot, obviously, and so that helped with, like, leg strength and stuff. And you also have to be kind of aggressive, too. Those sports, they were fun. They were on a team, but, like, swimming and cross-country is more individual, which is kind of related to biking.
So maybe you got some leg strength from the water polo and built up a little endurance from the cross-country running that's translated into the mountain biking.
Yeah.
What was the best investment that either you made in yourself or maybe a parent, family member, or friend made in you that was the most helpful along the way to getting you to where you are today?
I think the most important thing that I've done to get better is have a coach. Because when I was in middle school, I would just ride twice a week at Cannonsburg and call it good, which was fun. Forrester, he coaches me, and it's been so helpful. He's, like, such a great coach, and I've gotten so much better at racing with him while also having so much fun on the bike. So I think that was one of the most important things I've done to get better.
If you look at everyone that's at the top, they almost all have coaches. If it's acting, if it's basketball, baseball, business, usually everyone at the top has a coach, someone there to maybe give them fresh ideas or to guide them, and that's what coaches do. And I agree, coaches can help athletes or anyone get better at what they're doing. Definitely a good investment. And Eric's a cool guy.
He is cool, yeah.
Did anyone influence you to get on the bike?
My parents rode mountain bikes, and they were kind of the ones to get me into it. We would go to Luton and ride there, and I would do the Slush Cup race and the snow cone races at Iceman, the short little kid races, and I had so much fun with those. So that was really cool, and it was awesome to see, like, my dad racing the long Iceman race, and I was so in awe that someone could go, like, 30 miles in a race when I was little. It was so crazy. So that's really my parents helped me get into mountain biking, I think.
How many years did you do the Slush Cup?
I did snow cone a lot when I was younger. That was, like, the 1 mile one. I think I did Slush Cup 3 or 4 times, and then eventually I did the full Iceman.
Did you have any bad weather any of the years?
I did Iceman in 2019, which was the muddy one. I thought it was good weather. I had so much fun that day. I was just, like, sliding around. It was crazy. I loved it so much. Sometimes the bad weather, it turns out to be so much fun, and I had a great time that day.
Did you ride in any other trails with your dad growing up other than Luton? Did you have a favorite one?
I think riding with my parents, I think Luton was probably my favorite. We definitely did Merrill, and I think we did Egypt Valley too, but I think riding with my parents, Luton was probably my favorite.
And for those listening that aren't from around the area, these are all trails in the Grand Rapids, Rockford area. So if you're ever in the area, they're good trails to go shred. And Merrill's got a facelift with some new jumps and features, so check them out. Have you been to Merrill since the change?
I haven't. Oh, I can't wait to go ride it. I've heard from a lot of people that it's really awesome, so I'm very excited to go ride it.
Yeah, you're going to have fun. Do you have a hero or idol that you look up to right now?
Right now, most of the pro women are so inspirational that I probably look up to a lot of them just because they're so fast and they're so cool. It's just so exciting to watch them. Like, for example, I was just at Nationals, and I was able to watch the pro women's cross-country and short track races. And I got to see people like Kate Courtney, Sevilla Blanc, Kelsey Urban, Hannah Fincham, and so many more pro women going so fast. And just watching them, like, fly over the rocks and go, like, insanely fast on the uphills, it's just so inspiring and so cool to see that. So I think I look up to so many of the pro women on the mountain bike.
Awesome. Not just one, but you've got a lot to look up to. When and what was your first ever bike race? And take us through that experience. I'm guessing maybe the snow cone.
Snow cone was my first, like, bike race. It was so funny because I would race that and I had training wheels on my bike, and so did so many other kids. And so you're going through this, like, it's not really single track, it's like wide, and all the parents would be running next to their kids. It's kind of hard to go in the woods with training wheels on, so that was a challenge. And one year I remember they put this, like, super steep downhill in the middle of the trail, but it was really short. So I remember, like, stopping at the top and looking over, and there's just, like, a bunch of kids who had crashed at the bottom of it. I mean, but everyone's having so much fun. Like, people are just having a great time. And you finish, and there's a bunch of people at the finish, and they're handing out participation medals. I was just always so excited to do it.
So with the training wheels, did you ever get to a spot where the training wheels were up and your tire wasn't touching at all and you kind of didn't go anywhere?
It was hard because of, like, you know, it's kind of sandy sometimes, so training wheels make it extra challenge thrown in there.
Maybe we should put training wheels on the pros and see how well they ride the full life, man.
Yeah.
Were you nervous ever for one of those races, or no?
I think when I was younger, I was, like, pretty chill about it. You know, I wasn't worried about it at all. I just wanted to have fun on my bike. So I don't think I was really nervous when I was younger. No.
How many hours a week do you spend on the bike during base building?
It really depends. I think, like, during a non-recovery week, probably like 9 or 10 hours.
Is that as high as you'll get, 9 or 10 hours a week, or do you top out a little more?
Sometimes it's higher than that, but not very often, and not by much higher than that. It's generally pretty steady.
What about if you have a race week? How many hours would you ride your bike if you have, like, a race on Saturday? How many hours will you put in during that week? It
really depends still, because some races I'm just training through them because they're C races. Generally, it'll be a little less depending on the race, but if I'm tapering for a race, it'll be a lot less.
Okay.
Like 7 or 6 hours, maybe. I'm not really sure. It really just depends on the race, what my goals are and stuff.
That makes sense. Thinking back, what has been your most memorable race or event on the bike? And walk us through that.
I think my most memorable race was last year at Nationals. They had this third cross-country race that this year canceled because not very many people did it. But last year was there, so I did it. It was the high school race, so you were put into categories based on what grade you had just finished. And I ended up finishing 5th in that race, which is on the podium at Nationals, which is pretty sweet. But I remember going up to start climb, because it's the same course as this year. And I remember counting the people in front of me and being like, oh my gosh, I'm in 5th place. That would be pretty funny if I finished in 5th. Like, that would be pretty cool. And then I was able to, like, hold on to it for the rest of the race. It was so exciting. I just remember it was such a challenging race. I was so tired. I just had to keep pushing, but it was great.
I would say that's pretty memorable, getting on the podium at Nationals.
Yeah.
That should be at the top of your list. I agree. What about a ride that could have been solo or with a group in the past that was the most memorable or fun? Maybe like an adventure ride or something like that. Why don't you paint a picture of that experience?
I love mountain biking, but I also love fat biking in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
So I normally do the short fat bike series, which is most of the races are pretty close to Traverse City and, like, up there. And I'm pretty sure it was the year of COVID where they had to cancel some of the races. And so in place of one of the races, they put this adventure ride scavenger hunt called Fat Venture. And basically, there was a bunch of things hidden on the trails, on the Vasa trails in Traverse City. And you had to just go out and find them and take pictures of them, and then you would get points. And then there was like a podium. But it was mostly just an adventure ride to find the stuff. It was so much fun. So I rode with my dad. We were out. It was like 20 degrees. We were out there for like 3.5 hours, just riding around, taking pictures with like the Yeti sign and some deer antlers and stuff. It's one of my favorite rides because fat biking is so much fun. It's just like automatically more of an adventure ride than the mountain bike, I feel like, and it's like you have to focus on not sliding out and stuff and not falling, and then even while you are focusing, you're still falling, and it's just so much fun. I loved it so much.
And that was last year, you said?
I think it wasn't this year, but I think it was last year, yeah, that some of the races got canceled, so they put that in.
That actually sounds like it would be fun. And then, like you said, and I agree with you, if you want to get better on the bike, ride a fat bike in the snow.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, you have to have some handling skills to be able to keep your bike upright, especially when conditions deteriorate.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Who was or has been your biggest competition along the way? And tell us about some of the times when you went head-to-head.
Probably Maddie, who's on my team, or the Coyotes, and then Katie. Those two girls, they probably have been my biggest competition. We're all good friends, and so it's just so much fun pushing each other. Probably the biggest, like the times we've been most like competitive. Obviously in Misco, we're always super competitive with each other. It's so much fun because you just show up and you never know who's going to be better on that day because we're so competitive with each other. Also, Iceman, we've been really close, and last year maybe, it was the year when the CPS races had the Big M State Championship.
Yep.
Maddie and I, we were together the whole race in the front, and we were pushing each other. We went so fast, and we ended up having a sprint finish, and Maddie ended up winning that race. But we were just so exhausted after we had been pushing each other to go faster the whole race. It was so much fun. It's great to have such good competition and to be friends with those people as well.
And it's been fun watching you guys race at Misca and go battling it out bar to bar, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've had times where I've been so excited yelling at you on the course last season.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Why do you love the sport, and what keeps you going in the sport?
I love mountain biking because it can be pretty much anything you want. So racing is one of my favorite things to do in mountain biking because it's so competitive, but it's so friendly and exciting at the same time that it's one of my favorite things to do. But also, you can go on a friendly, fun recovery ride, and you can just hang out with your friends while you're riding mountain bike. You can go on an adventure ride and discover new things. It's just, there's so many different varieties of mountain biking that you can do that it's always so exciting, and all of them are so much fun to do because you can do it along with your teammates and your friends, and you're in the nature, like you're in the trees, and it's so much fun. I love it.
I have to agree with you there. It takes you so many places, and the adventures are amazing. I've done quite a few adventure rides with my friends, and for some reason those seem to stick out as just memorable, epic experiences on the bike.
Definitely.
Do you incorporate strength training in your routine?
I do, mostly in the winter and early spring when I'm building back up again. But I want to work on it more. But yeah, mostly in the winter and spring is when I do strength training.
Okay. And during that time, how many days a week are you doing the strength training?
Normally 2 times a week.
Okay. Non-consecutive days probably, so you have some space between?
Yeah.
And then, do you have a favorite piece of equipment that you use, or are you just using body weight?
I just use, weights. We have some in our basement, and then we have a pull-up bar, too, so I use that. But not really. I just use those things, yeah.
Okay. Kind of use what you have.
Yep.
Let's just pretend that you have an A-race week. And take us through, what does the week kind of look like training-wise? Maybe how many days off are you having? How many days are you on the bike? And do you do openers?
So most of my races are normally on Sunday, so we can just do it like that. So normally I'll have, if it's an A race, I'll have an interval workout, but not a very hard one, like easier intervals, less intense, early on in the week. And then I would just do some endurance, and I would have some recovery rides in there as well, mostly shorter rides, not as long as they normally would be. And then if the race is on Sunday, I would have an off day on Friday, and then I'd have openers on Saturday, and then I'd race on Sunday.
Nice. Where do you spend most of your training time? Do you ride indoor or outdoor most of the time, and what bike are you usually on?
I do not enjoy riding the trainer as much as riding outside, so any chance I can get to ride outside, I will ride outside. For intervals-wise, I like to do those on gravel, so depending on what my workout is, I'll use my cyclocross/gravel bike or my mountain bike. And then sometimes I have endurance rides, which is also on the gravel bike, and then sometimes I have mountain bike endurance rides, or specific intervals that would be at a mountain bike trail that I will use my mountain bike for. I like mountain biking more than gravel biking, so when I can use my mountain bike, I like to do that. Sometimes when I have hill repeats, I will start at the trail and ride a little bit of easy trail for warm-up, do the hill repeats, and then ride a little bit of flat, easy trail for warm-down, stuff like that.
I like that. I'm pretty similar. I'd rather be on the mountain bike, and that's one reason I like Mosquito Creek over here, because it's got a green loop, and you can pretty much go all out on that and do good intervals on that green loop.
Yeah.
Do you use any kind of supplements pre-race or during the race, for maybe hydration and then maybe afterwards for recovery?
Yeah, I use Hammer Nutrition, and so pre-race I like to use Endurolite just for drinking and just water too. Just stay hydrated. And then during the race I use Heed, which is from Hammer too. I like the lemon lime flavor. And then I use the Hammer gels. I use the huckleberry flavor for racing and the orange flavor for training.
Why is there a difference there?
Because I like to have the specific flavor of the gel for the race different than for training. So mentally I can know if I'm eating it in the race, I can know okay, just to help remind myself I'm in a race. This is different from training. Let's go for it,
It's funny because those flavors, that's my favorite gel that you use during your race from them, and that flavor of Heat is my favorite from them. Do you use anything for recovery afterwards?
I haven't found one yet, but I'm trying to find one. I need to get on that.
Okay. Are you just doing more fruits fruits afterwards and maybe some protein?
Yeah, just normal food. I haven't been using Hammer for recovery yet.
Do you use any kind of devices for recovery, like any stretching or massaging or percussive guns or compression boots, foam rollers, anything like that?
Well, obviously I stretch, and then I have one of the mini Theraguns that I like to use. That's very helpful. But I've seen the pictures of the boots. I would love to try those someday. They look awesome.
Well, if we're ever somewhere where I have them and you're there, you're always welcome to try them on.
They look pretty sweet.
They are, and then what's going to happen is your dad's going to have to buy you some.
Right.
I'll make sure that I let him know after you use them that he's going to have to buy you some. You won't have to tell him.
Sounds good.
What is your favorite interval workout to do on the bike? Do you like the long, lower intensity intervals, or do you like the shorter, higher intensity intervals?
I like short, high-intensity intervals. So my favorite intervals are probably 1-minute sprints just because they're quick and you just go for it. But I think the most rewarding intervals are hill repeats, whether you're just doing one hill or whether you're doing double hills. I think that is the hardest workout that I have regularly, and it's to finish that and be like, oh my gosh, I just did that. Like, that's awesome.
I think your dad's taught you well.
Yeah, I mean, they're hard, and I'm not always super excited when I see them on my schedule, but when I finish it's so nice to know that, like, I'm done and I just did it, you know?
The hill intervals are definitely the most rewarding because you can see what you just did. If you're at Cannonsburg and you look at that big ski hill, and if you do, 5, 8 reps up and down, you just did that, and it's right in front of you, and it's gratifying.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
If there was one race that you could do over, what was the race, and what would you have done differently?
So last year in Miska, I was at Addison Oaks, and I was in the lead group of, I think it was 4, and I was in the front, and I crashed on a corner because I took it way too fast, like totally my mistake. But I was able to finish on the podium, but I wasn't in contention for the win anymore, and I was feeling so good that day that I really I would like to be able to do that again and not crash and compete for the win instead of crashing and being out of the race or out of the chase for the win.
So you were in the top 4?
Yeah, I was leading the group.
Oh, you were leading the group, and then you crashed.
Yes.
And then by the time you got back up, what kind of a gap was there?
I'm not sure how big of a gap it was, but I couldn't see them anymore. I had to straighten out my handlebars and stuff, so it took me a second to get back going, but probably 30 seconds.
Straighten out the handlebars, that's a chore. That's not a quick thing, especially if they're tight. So when you came back out onto the grassy area at the race course, could you see them then?
I could. I was coming into the field loop, and they were just exiting that. So I really tried to get them, but I definitely could not that day.
I can definitely see why that is a race you want to get back. One corner, maybe a little slower, and then what probably would have happened is you probably would have, in the next lap, someone else might have taken over the lead. You could have recovered a little bit by drafting, and then who knows what could have happened.
Right, yeah.
Those thoughts always go through your head, right?
Yep, what if, yeah.
What if? If you could spend 1 week training with an athlete or a coach, who would it be and why?
I would like to spend a week training with Kate Courtney. I think her rides look so much fun. She doesn't always post on Strava, but when she does, it looks like she has such a great time riding. Earlier this year, she was staying with Alessandra Keller, I think, in Switzerland, and she was posting so many pictures from those training rides. It looked so amazing. So I'd love to train for a week with Kate Courtney.
And it seems like they're always in the mountains, which are beautiful, which adds to the flavor.
Right, yes. And good, you get good downhills in the mountains, too.
Which makes it fun.
Yeah.
When you look at her pictures, it seems like somehow she always seems to find a bakery.
Right. That's very important.
Finding some good, high-quality baked goods along the route.
Yes. That's key to a good ride.
What do you do pre-competition to get yourself ready and motivated? Do you do any music? Do you do any mental visualization? Do you have rituals, routines?
Yeah, all of those things. So I love visualizing my race. It's so much fun. It gets me so excited. I also have a playlist of certain songs that I only listen to on race day. I never listen to them any day besides the morning of the race. Like Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, Seven Nation Army. Every once in a while I throw Creeping Death by Metallica in there. So that's so exciting. And then every race day morning, I always eat oatmeal too. So that's a good routine for me.
So you do all of it, just like you said, mental visualization, and you even have Metallica in your music. Is that from your dad?
Yeah. He was like, look, this is a great fire-up song, and he played it. I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah, that's good.
And you listen to him. That's pretty crazy. Oatmeal, pre-race, breakfast.
Yeah.
Anything else, or just oatmeal, no fruit?
Sometimes I have like a clementine or something, but mostly just oatmeal.
What kind of oatmeal?
Sometimes I eat instant oatmeal, but if I have time to eat like real oatmeal, then I'll do that.
Maybe sometimes you got a variety pack, like with different flavors, or is it just always just plain oatmeal?
I try to eat the plain oatmeal when I have time. Sometimes I eat instant oatmeal with the variety pack. Like, for example, my cross-country race at Nationals was at 12:15, so I had time to like make and eat the plain oatmeal. But then my short track race is at 7:30 in the morning, and so I had instant oatmeal that day because it's just very quick and easier.
Yeah, early in the morning. Yeah, quick. Do you have any other events on your calendar for this year? And maybe explain a little bit about what they are and where they are.
I am planning on doing Skirts and Dirt, which is in Grand Rapids. It's a women's race to get more women on bikes. It's so much fun. I've done it for a few years in a row now, and I love it because it's great. The community there is great, and also the race is different, which is so much fun. It has challenges in the middle, so you have to stop and you have to get off your bike and do a bottle flip or hula hoop or play croquet for a second or something. It's great. And then you get stickers on your number plate. You have to hit all the challenges and you can keep going. And last year was at Wallfield, and Wallfield is such a fun trail. They've got some good jump lines and some good single track, like flowy areas. So I love that race so much. And then I'll be doing NISCA in the fall, which is 6 races. It's the high school series. So I'll be in varsity girls, and I'm a senior this year, so my last year at NISCA, which will be fun, very exciting. And then I'm hoping to do peak to peak, but I'm not positive on that one yet. And then I will definitely be doing Iceman. And then I'll be doing fat biking again, which is like January, February, March.
And let's rewind a little bit and go to Iceman. And are you going to do the juniors race again this year?
Yeah, I'll be in 17-18 for juniors this year.
And so that means you're going off around, what, 12 p.m.-ish?
Yeah, it's around noon. It's pretty late. I'm not sure the exact time, but yeah, that's normally around where it is.
So if there's any other people out here that want to get their high schooler racing, get them in the juniors race in the afternoon. Fat biking, are you going to do the series again?
I will do the series again, yeah. I'm pretty excited. I love those races so much. They're awesome.
Yeah, and you have to defend your title, so you have to do it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited. Those races are fun because there's such a big variety in how they're raced. The one at Boyne is more cross-country style. It's like 2 or 3 long laps, but then the one at Crystal Mountain is more like short track crit style. It's a shorter course, and you just go as many laps as you can do in 90 minutes or 2 hours. So I'm very excited for those races, yeah. Different
variety. That keeps mixing it up and keeps it fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the idea of that Skirts in the Dirt race where you get to stop and do challenges while you're on the bike too, and get stickers to show that you've done them. That's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love it because it's different from all the other races, so it's sweet to just go out there. And I don't know, I'm so bad at like croquet and stuff that it's kind of funny to have to get off and you're in the middle of a race. There's so much adrenaline, and you're like, okay, just calm down. You can do it. It's really fun. It creates a very exciting race.
That's cool. If you were to give advice to athletes like yourself that are young, what would it be? Or maybe even younger than you?
Have fun. I feel like it's kind of easy to get super stressed out about like racing and stuff, but racing is so much fun if you can just not be too stressed out about it. And so just have fun and on bikes.
It sounds like you do a good job of making things fun. Everything you've told me today is exciting and great. I think you have a great outlook on things as well, and I think that helps you. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say before we sign off?
Just thanks for talking to me. I love racing and riding so much, and the trails in Grand Rapids are great, so you should try them out if you haven't.
Absolutely. I agree with you. People get out to Grand Rapids, try the trails out around the Rockford area. You can use the Mountain Bike Projects app to see them, or you can use your TrailsForks app. Well, Annabelle, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you making time on your way back from Colorado to get on the phone here and do this interview. It's been great. You've got a great outlook, and I can't wait to see what this year brings as we go into Miska and into Iceman.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you soon.
You have just listened to Unpacking the Athlete.